A reading from Paul's letter to the Thessalonians. You yourselves know, brothers and sisters, that our coming to you was not in vain. But though we had already suffered and been shamefully mistreated at Philippi, as you know, we had courage in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in spite of great opposition. For our appeal does not spring from deceit or impure motives or trickery, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the message of the gospel, even so we speak, not to please mortals, but to please God who tests our hearts. As you know, and as God is our witness, we never came with words of flattery or with a pretext for greed, nor did we seek praise from mortals, whether from you or from others, though we might have made demands as apostles of Christ. But we were gentle among you, like a nurse tenderly caring for her own children. So deeply do we care for you that we are determined to share with you not only the gospel of God, but also our own selves, because you have become very dear to us. You remember our labor and toil, brothers and sisters. We worked night and day so that we might not burden any of you while we proclaimed to you the gospel of God. You are witnesses, and God is also, how pure, upright, and blameless our conduct was towards you believers. As you know, we dealt with each one of you like a father with his children, urging and encouraging you and pleading that you lead a life worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. Here ended the reading.
You get the sense from Paul's letter that being a witness to the resurrection is both rewarding and hard work. Paul writes about long hours, labor, and toil, and how the Thessalonians had turned from idol worship and to doing well in serving the Lord. Paul compares this gospel work to being a nurse. One summer, I worked as a chaplain at a hospital where I gained an enormous amount of respect for nurses. Whereas the doctors knew the course of treatment, it was the nurses who really knew the patients. First thing each day, we met as a team to talk about every patient on the unit. The nurses knew how recovery was progressing from a medical standpoint, but they also knew much more. They took the time to observe family members and visitors. They routinely paid attention to how they were doing emotionally and spiritually. These nurses were truly ministers. Our best ministry happens with people we really get to know, the ones we invest the most time with. And that's kind of like the work nurses do. If we look at the various units in which we do our gospel work, family, work, church, and the world, these are kind of like units where we are called to be nurses. Paul had heard his old patients were doing well, and he was happy about it. So he wrote them a letter to tell them to keep it up. Once a nurse, always a nurse, I suppose.